My beloved child, become still for a moment. Lay down the need to explain yourself, defend yourself, or prove that you are strong. I know the pain you have carried quietly. I have seen the questions you could not put into words, the disappointments you concealed behind a steady face, and the nights when you told everyone you were fine, because revealing the truth felt more dangerous than carrying it alone. You learned how to appear independent. You learned how to solve your own problems, calm your own tears, and continue without asking anyone to stay. There were people who heard your words but did not hear your heart. There were people who received your love but did not handle it with care. There were promises that failed, expectations that exhausted you, and relationships in which you kept pouring while receiving very little in return. So you built a wall. At first, that wall seemed wise. It kept away the harsh voices, the manipulation, the confusion, and the repeated disappointment. But beloved, listen carefully. The wall that kept harmful people out has slowly grown high enough to keep helpful people out too. It now blocks the honest friend, the wise counselor, the patient listener, and the person I may send to help you carry what has become too heavy. I do not condemn you for seeking safety. I do not blame you for becoming cautious, but I am teaching you that isolation is not the same as protection. As it is written, I am your rock, your refuge, and your strong tower. Yet I can also surround you with trustworthy people, sincere friends, and wise voices. Do not reject the care I send merely because it arrives through human hands. I am not telling you to reopen every door. I am not asking you to return to those who continually wounded you. I am not asking you to surrender the boundaries that wisdom helped you establish. There is a difference between healing solitude, wise separation, and fear that refuses every form of closeness. I will teach you that difference. Do not rush. Let your heart remain open before me. We will examine the wall without tearing it down recklessly. We will keep what is wise, remove what has become a prison, and test every relationship in the light. But first, my child, you must understand why the distance felt so peaceful in the beginning. When conflict stopped, when expectations disappeared, and when no one could disappoint you, the quiet felt like safety. And for a season, that quiet may have been exactly what your weary heart needed. Yes, my beloved child, the quiet brought relief. After so many disappointments, your heart became tired, and when weariness settled deeply within you, distance seemed like the only place where you no longer had to struggle to be understood. There were fewer arguments when you stopped answering. There were fewer demands when you stopped making yourself available. There were fewer painful explanations when you decided that no one needed to know what was happening inside you. No one could misread your intentions if you never revealed them. No one could abandon you if you never depended on them. No one could disappoint you if you expected nothing from anyone. And because the pressure became lighter, you called the feeling peace. I do not blame you. When relationships have been filled with harsh words, confusion, manipulation, or endless emotional demands, the absence of those things can feel holy. The silence can feel like shelter. The empty space can feel like deliverance. For a time, stepping away may truly have been mercy. You needed room to breathe, room to pray, room to remember that you were still held by me. I met you there. I strengthened you when you felt empty. I heard the burdens you could not explain, and I remained attentive when you felt forgotten. As it is written, my peace guards the heart and mind. I know how to quiet what fear has disturbed and restore what disappointment has exhausted. But listen carefully, beloved. Not every form of relief is lasting peace. True peace restores your ability to love without losing wisdom. True peace clears your judgment, renews your strength, and prepares you to walk faithfully again. Avoidant relief is different. It remains calm only when nothing is allowed to come close. It requires every conversation to stay shallow, every invitation to remain unanswered, and every relationship to be held at a distance. Do you see the difference? The quiet may have begun as a place of healing, but it was never meant to become a permanent hiding place. What I give does not merely help you escape pressure. It teaches you how to move through life with a guarded heart and an open spirit. I am not leading you back into confusion. I am teaching you to carry peace into wise connection. So ask yourself gently, has this quiet renewed me, or has it made every form of closeness feel dangerous? Has it prepared me to love more wisely, or has it persuaded me that I am safest when no one truly knows me? Do not answer with shame. Simply bring the truth into my light. For now, I will show you how solitude restores the soul, and how isolation slowly begins to conceal it. My beloved child, solitude and isolation can look alike from the outside, but they do not produce the same fruit. Both may be quiet. Both may involve stepping away. Both may place distance between you and the noise around you. But one restores what pain has drained, while the other conceals what pain is still controlling. Healing solitude is chosen with purpose. You enter it to bring your burdens into my presence, to quiet the voices that have confused you, and to receive strength for what comes next. It has a beginning, a purpose, and a door through which you can return. You do not disappear because you have stopped believing in love. You become still so that fear no longer decides how you love. As it is written, the one who dwells in the secret place of the Most High rests beneath the shadow of the Almighty. That secret place is nearness to me, not permanent separation from everyone. In my presence, your heart becomes clearer, your strength is renewed, your words become more honest. You begin to see which burdens belong in my hands and which conversations require your courage. Isolation is different. Isolation is governed by fear. It hides what needs care, refuses what may bring help, and continually postpones participation in life. It says, not yet, until months become years. It says, I am protecting my peace, when the deeper truth is, I am afraid of being known. Solitude makes the heart clearer. Isolation makes every person suspect. Solitude prepares honest speech. Isolation deepens secrecy. Solitude renews your capacity to love. Isolation narrows your world until safety depends on keeping everyone outside it. So ask yourself, beloved, does anyone know what you are truly carrying? When trustworthy help is offered, do you consider it prayerfully or reject it before it can reach you? Does every invitation feel like a demand? Does every question feel intrusive? Does every disagreement feel like the beginning of betrayal? Perhaps you still attend gatherings, answer messages, smile in conversations, and fulfill every responsibility. Yet no one is permitted beyond the carefully managed version of you. You are socially present but emotionally hidden. People see your strength, but they never see your weariness. They hear your encouragement, but they never hear your need. I do not condemn you. Naming isolation is not admitting defeat. It is opening the first window through which healing, truth, and wiser protection can enter. Now that you can recognize isolation by its fruit, I must show you what it quietly removes, what disappears from your life, while everything on the surface still appears calm. My beloved child, isolation rarely reveals its cost all at once. It does not always arrive with obvious darkness or immediate collapse. It can feel orderly, controlled, and predictable. Yet while everything appears calm, it slowly removes the very safeguards that could help you remain clear, strong, and hopeful. When your burdens remain hidden, even trustworthy people cannot respond to them. They cannot pray about what you never mention. They cannot help carry what you insist is not heavy. They cannot recognize the weariness behind your smile when every conversation is carefully designed to keep your pain unseen. Secrecy gives suffering room to grow without interruption. And when no wise voice is near enough to question your conclusions, assumptions begin to sound like truth. A delayed reply becomes rejection. A disagreement becomes betrayal. An imperfect response becomes evidence that no one is safe. Fear interprets the moment. Pain confirms the interpretation. And isolation prevents anyone from offering another possibility. Do you see, my child? You become the wounded person, the interpreter of the wound, the counselor of your own heart, and the final authority over every conclusion. You are asked to judge clearly while standing inside the very pain that has clouded your vision. I do not condemn you. I know why you stopped explaining. But I am teaching you that wisdom does not fear examination. As it is written, truth brings freedom. What is true can endure prayer, patient reflection, and the counsel of people whose character has been tested. Without trustworthy connection, no one notices when your strength is fading. No one asks whether the decision you are about to make is being shaped by peace or exhaustion. No one offers a perspective you could not see alone. No one shares the responsibility that has become too heavy. No one recognizes when ordinary discouragement is becoming something deeper. I did not create you to carry every battle unseen. and I do not ask you to prove your faith by suffering without witness. I am your refuge, but refuge does not mean refusing every form of care. I am your shepherd, and a shepherd leads, guards, restores, and gathers. The absence of conflict is not complete safety if it also means the absence of counsel, encouragement, correction, and care. A life in which no one can wound you may also become a life in which no one can warn you, strengthen you, or stand beside you. Therefore, beloved, let me enlarge your understanding of protection. I remain your rock and your defender, but my care does not always arrive invisibly. Sometimes the help you have prayed for comes through a faithful voice, a patient presence, or a trustworthy hand. My beloved child, I am still your refuge. I am the shepherd who watches when your strength is gone, the keeper who remains attentive when your eyes can no longer stay open, the father who sees every danger, every burden, and every silent fear. No human being can take my place. No friend, relative, church, mentor, or counselor can become the foundation that only I can be. People are imperfect. Even sincere people have limits. They may misunderstand, grow tired, or fail to know what you need. Therefore, do not make another person your savior. Bring every voice into my light. Let every relationship remain beneath my authority. Receive love with gratitude, but keep your deepest confidence anchored in me. Yet listen carefully, beloved. Trusting me does not require rejecting everyone I may use. I am the God who gives wisdom, and sometimes that wisdom reaches you through a mature counselor who asks the question you have avoided. I am the God who comforts, and sometimes that comfort reaches you through a faithful friend who sits beside you without trying to control your pain. I am the God who restores, and sometimes restoration begins within a patient community that gives you room to heal, speak, learn, and begin again. Another person may notice the exhaustion you have learned to hide. They may recognize danger in a decision that appears harmless to you. They may challenge a conclusion shaped by disappointment, point toward an opportunity fear caused you to overlook, or remind you of truth when discouragement has made truth difficult to remember. Do you see, my child? Protection does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is the call that came when you were close to giving up. Sometimes it is the warning that delayed an unwise choice. Sometimes it is a meal placed before you when you had no strength to care for yourself. Sometimes it is a listening presence, a prayer spoken over your weariness, or a simple word that helped you endure one more day. You may have called these moments ordinary, yet my care often moves quietly. I do not condemn you for wanting to depend on me alone, but do not confuse spiritual strength with refusing support. The hand you reject may be carrying part of the provision you asked me to send. Receiving trustworthy care does not weaken your faith. It may reveal that your faith is humble enough to recognize my answer in an unexpected form. My protection can be unseen, and it can be embodied. It can settle your heart in prayer, and it can meet you through a wise voice. It can guard you in solitude, and it can surround you through faithful people. But I know the question rising within you, what if the hand reaching toward me is not safe? That is why I will not teach you merely to open the door. I will teach you to discern which hands have been proven trustworthy. My beloved child, I have heard the question beneath your hesitation. What if I open the door and I am wounded again? I will not answer you with an empty promise that every person will be safe. People still have choices, hidden motives, weaknesses, and unhealed places. This is why I am not calling you into careless trust. I am leading you into discernment. Reconnection does not mean giving everyone access. It does not mean revealing your deepest wounds in the first conversation. It does not mean reviving every relationship that ended or returning to someone whose character has not changed. Some doors must remain closed. Some access must remain limited. Some departures must be accepted without guilt. But do not let one unsafe hand teach you that every hand is unsafe. What comes from me can be tested in the light. Look for honesty that remains honest when truth becomes inconvenient. Look for consistency that is proven over time, not merely promised in an emotional moment. Look for people who respect your boundaries without punishing you, who receive correction without turning cruel, and whose kindness does not demand control as payment. Safe people do not rush your disclosure. They do not use your weakness to gain power. They do not make you feel guilty for needing time. They do not insist that trusting them requires surrendering your judgment, your peace, or your relationship with me. Counterfeit care creates urgency, secrecy, and dependence. Trustworthy care makes room for truth, patience, responsibility, and freedom. As it is written, do not believe every spirit, but test what presents itself to you. Do not be conquered by charm. Do not be persuaded by promises alone. Do not mistake one intense conversation for proven character. Discernment watches patterns. It listens to words, but it also examines actions. It notices how a person responds when disappointed, corrected, denied, or asked to wait. Seek those whose presence helps you become more truthful, not more secretive, more responsible, not more dependent, more peaceful, not more confused. A trustworthy relationship will not replace my voice. It will encourage you to hear me more clearly. Yet be careful of the opposite extreme, beloved. Do not demand perfection as proof of safety. Faithful people can misunderstand. Mature people can make mistakes. The difference is revealed in what happens afterward. Safe people acknowledge harm, accept responsibility, seek repair, and demonstrate change. Unsafe people deny, blame, manipulate, and repeat. Therefore, slow down. Test every relationship in the light. Neither trust instantly nor reject automatically. Let access grow where character has been proven. And as trust grows, you will need boundaries, not walls that bury connection, but doors that wisely determine who may enter, how far, and under what conditions. My beloved child, a boundary is not the same as isolation. Isolation says, no one can ever come near me. A boundary says, access must be appropriate, honest, and safe. Isolation seals every entrance because fear expects harm from everyone. A boundary keeps watch at the door and opens only as character is revealed. I am not asking you to turn your guarded heart into an unprotected place. I am teaching you to replace the sealed tomb with a guarded doorway. Let that door remain closed to manipulation, deception, contempt, and repeated harm, but allow it to open gradually where you find patience, honesty, humility, and care that has been proven over time. As it is written, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guarding does not mean burying. Protecting does not mean hardening. A guarded heart can still forgive, still pray, still show kindness, and still remain compassionate without granting renewed access to someone who refuses truth. Beloved, forgiveness does not require you to ignore a pattern. Prayer does not require you to remain available for mistreatment. Kindness does not require private access to your life. If a person remains deceptive, abusive, controlling, or unwilling to change, you may release bitterness while keeping the door closed. Some relationships may be restored according to my wisdom. Others must remain limited. Do not manufacture reconciliation because loneliness has become uncomfortable. Do not reopen a harmful connection because guilt tells you that boundaries are unloving. True restoration is supported by truth, responsibility, repair, and changed behavior, not by pressure, promises, or temporary regret. Learn to speak calmly. You may say, I cannot discuss this right now. You may say, I am available at this time, but not at every hour. You may say, that part of my life is private. You may say, I will continue this conversation when we can speak respectfully. You may say, if this behavior continues, I will step away. These are not weapons. They are clear doors with clear hinges. Yet do not use boundaries to punish, control, or test whether someone will chase you. Do not call silent retaliation protection. Do not make people guess what you refuse to communicate. Healthy boundaries clarify what is acceptable. They do not manipulate affection or hide resentment. Do you see, my child? You do not have to choose between giving everyone unrestricted access and disappearing from everyone completely. You can remain soft without becoming unguarded. You can be compassionate without returning to repeated harm. You can love and still say no. Now take this truth slowly. You do not need to rebuild your whole world in one day. The way out of isolation begins with one small, honest step. Do not rush, my beloved child. You do not need to rebuild your whole world today. You do not need to enter every room, answer every invitation, or reveal every hidden wound. Take one truthful step. Let faithfulness begin small. First, bring one person before me. Do not choose only because they are familiar, impressive, spiritually influential, or emotionally close. Look for a life that has demonstrated honesty, patience, discretion, and respect. Remember how they have handled another person's weakness. Notice whether their care remains steady when there is nothing for them to gain. Ask me for discernment, and let character, not urgency, guide your choice. Then begin one contained conversation. You do not have to tell your entire story. Share one real struggle in a proportionate way. You may say, "I have been carrying more than I have admitted," or "I have withdrawn because trusting people has become difficult." Speak enough truth to step out of secrecy, then observe. Do they listen without rushing to control the outcome? Do they protect what is private? Do they make room for your voice, or turn your pain into a stage for their own importance? A safe listener will not demand more than you are ready to share. Next, make one specific request. Ask for prayer, ask for perspective, ask for help with one practical burden. Ask them to accompany you to a difficult appointment, or to check on you later in the week. Clear requests allow care to become real. They also reveal whether a person can respond with humility rather than control. After this, watch the relationship over time. Do not declare someone completely safe because of one beautiful conversation, and do not declare them unsafe because of one imperfect response. Observe the ordinary moments. Look for consistency, repair, patience, mutual respect, and a willingness to receive correction. What is trustworthy becomes clearer with time. When the burden requires more than one person can provide, widen the circle carefully. A mature church community, a faithful relative, a wise mentor, or a qualified counselor may carry a form of help that friendship alone cannot supply. Receiving appropriate care is not abandoning dependence on me. It is allowing provision to take the form best suited to the need. And beloved, prepare yourself for discomfort. After long isolation, being known may feel dangerous even when no boundary has been violated. Your heart may urge you to disappear after an honest conversation. Pause. Return to me. Ask, was I treated without respect, or has an old fear been awakened? Is this a present warning, or the expectation that every closeness must end in pain? I do not condemn your hesitation. I am not demanding instant vulnerability. I am inviting you from secrecy toward light, from fear toward tested trust, one honest step at a time. Yet even when the path is clear, another resistance may remain, the belief that faithful people should always be strong enough to carry themselves. My child, you have carried many others. Now you must learn that receiving care can also be holy. My beloved child, I have seen how long you have been strong for others. You have encouraged people while your own heart was tired. You have listened to their fears while hiding your confusion. You have carried responsibilities, answered calls, solved problems, and continued serving even when loneliness followed you into the quiet. Now, when someone asks what you need, you feel embarrassed. You fear that admitting exhaustion will disappoint those who depend on you. You fear that revealing uncertainty will weaken the image of faithfulness you have worked so hard to maintain. I do not condemn you, but I am teaching you that strength which cannot receive care will eventually become exhaustion, disguised as devotion. There is a hidden agreement beneath excessive independence. If I need nothing from anyone, no one will have the power to disappoint me. That agreement may reduce vulnerability, but it also makes love move in only one direction. You give, but do not receive. You listen, but do not speak. You remain available, yet personally unreachable. Do you see, my child? When you refuse every act of care, you also prevent trustworthy people from practicing faithfulness toward you. As it is written, burdens are to be carried together. This does not mean surrendering your judgment or becoming dependent upon one person. It means allowing healthy community to include mutual responsibility. Accountability grounded in truth, humility, and respect is not domination. A wise question may interrupt an unwise decision. A loving correction may expose what pain is hidden. A faithful warning may prevent a temporary struggle from becoming a deeper wound. Receiving support may look very ordinary. Let someone pray with you instead of always praying for everyone else. When a trusted person asks how you are, answer with one honest sentence. Allow the promised check-in. Consider correction without treating it as rejection. Let someone prepare the meal, share the task, accompany you, or sit beside you when there are no easy words. You are not being called into helpless dependence. You are being invited into mutual care, where people encourage and are encouraged, serve and are served, forgive and are forgiven, listen and are heard. No one person becomes your source. No one person carries everything. Each offers what has been entrusted to them, while I remain the foundation beneath you all. Therefore, release the identity of being always fine, always strong, always available, and never in need. You do not honor me by becoming unreachable. Receiving trustworthy care is not weakness, failure, or loss of control. It is mature participation in the provision I have placed around you. Now, beloved, let us gather every fear, every boundary, every wound, and every hope into prayer. Let us ask for a guarded heart that is no longer a hardened heart, and for courage to walk toward safe connection in peace. My beloved child, the wall does not need to fall in one reckless moment. I am not asking you to leave your heart exposed, or to forget what pain has taught you. I am transforming that wall into a guarded doorway, one that remains closed to manipulation and repeated harm, yet opens wisely to truth, patience, and proven love. Now surrender to me the disappointments that made you withdraw, the harsh words you still remember, the trust that was broken, and the hidden fear that says, every relationship will eventually become another wound. Place these burdens into my hands. I have seen every tear, every lonely night, and every moment when you carried more than anyone knew. Father, grant discernment to recognize sincere character. Give courage to walk away when access becomes unhealthy, and humility to receive faithful friends, wise counsel, and appropriate help. Teach every wounded heart to distinguish present danger from remembered pain, controlling attention from genuine care, and counterfeit closeness from love that honors truth and freedom. Draw near to those who feel forgotten. Strengthen the caregiver who has poured out until nothing seems left. Bring peace into strained families. Comfort those who smile publicly while privately carrying grief, fear, exhaustion, and unanswered questions. Restore relationships according to your wisdom and lead those facing deeper burdens toward the support they need. Now declare this slowly, beloved. I will not call isolation peace. I will not call secrecy strength. I will not call every person dangerous. I will test, pray, listen, and move with wisdom. Let one person come to mind. Let one burden be named. Let one honest request become clear. Do not rush beyond what wisdom permits, but do not retreat merely because honesty feels unfamiliar. Send the message. Begin the conversation. Ask for prayer, perspective, or practical help. Take one unhurried step from concealment toward light. My child, you are not forgotten. You do not walk alone. You do not have to choose between protection and love. I can guard your heart while teaching it to receive trustworthy care. I can preserve your boundaries without allowing fear to harden your spirit. I can lead you into relationships where truth is welcomed, limits are respected, and burdens are shared. Stay near me. Keep the boundaries wisdom has established. Accept faithful help without shame. Walk slowly, test patiently, and remain honest. You will love more wisely without loving less. You will receive care without surrendering discernment. You will remain protected without remaining unreachable. Walk forward in peace, my beloved child. You are guarded, you are connected, and in my care you are free.